My sister dared to wear my wedding dress and confess that she and my fiancé had planned to run away before he died. About a month ago, my 25 female fiancé 27 male had unfortunately passed away in a car crash. It was devastating for everyone, especially since we were going to have our wedding this year, and we're planning on buying a new house together next year. Everything I dreamed of had come true before it all came crashing down. Of course, I haven't been taking it well and have just been staying in bed not wanting to talk to anyone, and on some occasions drinking myself to sleep. But today my friends managed to give me the courage to finally go outside after nearly 4 weeks of staying indoors. I'll admit I wasn't looking forward to it, but I did have a good time with them, and even got a smile on my face for the first time since my fiancé's death. But when I came back home and walked into the living room, I saw my sister, 22 female, in my wedding dress, music playing in the background while she was looking at herself in the mirror with obvious tears down her face. When she noticed me, immediately she screamed at me to get out, but I stood my ground and refused until she'd explained herself. That's when she broke down and told me that before my fiancé's death, she and him had been having an affair and that they were planning on running away together before the wedding. When she told me all of that, I started to have a panic attack and ran to lock myself in my room. She did try to get me out so she could explain herself more. But what on earth is there more to explain? I feel sick. I don't want to look at her. I don't want anything to do with her, and all I've been doing is crying all day. I seriously don't know what to do. She has on some occasions asked to try out my clothes since she doesn't have a lot, or she liked this specific shirt or trousers. I let her try them on since we both have a close relationship with each other. She also lives with me since our parents are toxic narcissists. That's why I have no interest in telling them about what's happened since we're both no contact. She was also telling me to get out of her room since I guess she was embarrassed that she'd gotten caught. The most I can do is kick her out, but I really don't want to as I still love her since she's my sister. Girl, you don't want to kick your sister out because you love her and you all are close after the very unhinged and psychotic stunt she pulled. At this point, yeah, and no, she's going to keep on hurting you, and because you have no backbone, you'll allow it. This is crazy to me. She cheated on you behind your back with the love of your life. You call that a sister? That's a morally bankrupt person that you happen to share parents with. There's no point to this at all. You are the idiot. I understand you want to keep her in your life, but sadly that makes it much harder for you, OP. That doesn't lessen the fact that her behavior was abhorrent. However, right now, she is an impediment to your healing from your loss. Even with your desire to not lose that relationship, you need some space from her. Can she go live with friends for a while? I'm so sorry that happened to you. There could also be another side of the story that maybe she was in love with your fiancé and those feelings were not reciprocated. He's no longer here to defend himself. Before I would fully believe her that he betrayed you, I would look through his phone for proof. I don't know that I would believe anything she says without actual proof. If it's not on his devices, surely it would be on hers. Just to play devil's advocate, it's still possible that maybe she had a thing for him, and those feelings were a one-way thing. I had a friend dating someone for 2 or 3 months without that person knowing. You really should try to find proof before you fully believe her. Ask her for it directly. If she doesn't want to show it to you, then that's enough of an indication that what she's saying is likely not true. Think about the situation. She's standing in your wedding dress looking at herself in the mirror and then tells you how they wanted to run away and get married. It doesn't sound realistic. Why would they be running away? Just don't trust what she's saying just because they were close. He might have just been kind to her as she's your sister, and she probably hoped for more. She could be lying. She could be telling the truth. But the result is the same. Therapy and cutting her out of your life. I'm 48 female, a mom to 2 kids. Danica, nearly adult female, and Parker, young teen female. Fake names. I think it's important to explain my family dynamics. My husband, 49 male, and I have an okay marriage, but we're at odds somewhat often. He can be a total idiot to me, and sometimes even the kids, but we still love each other in the end. Parker takes after him a lot, and she's always been a bit of a handful. We also think she might have ADHD. Can't afford to get her diagnosed though, and has anger issues as well as not knowing when to not engage. Mainly with her father, who she argues with constantly. She refuses therapy, so we just kind of deal with it. Danica, however, has been instrumental. I honestly don't know what we do without her. When she was younger, she went through a bit of trouble, but around her tween years, she really started to mature. She's always there to listen when I have a problem, and she does her best to help out where she can. Last night, I had a problem with my husband, and we were arguing over finances. I recently got a new job and decided to buy myself something small as a treat. He's upset over that because he wants us to save for a trip we're taking later this year. Anyway, I saw Danica was up this morning and went over to her. I started glinting about what happened, but felt like she wasn't listening. Finally, she just went, "Mom, stop," and I stopped and asked what was wrong. She told me that she didn't want to hear it right now. I told her that I needed her to listen right now. We went back and forth, but eventually she told me that she was sick of being my therapist and that I needed to find some outside support. I reminded her that I don't have many friends I can talk to, and she knows this. I don't really have many friends and said that's why I need her support. She just scoffed and said that I could get a therapist then, but she's tired of dealing with my problems. I got upset and told her she was being unsupportive. She just stormed off and refuses to talk now. She's the only one I feel comfortable talking to about these things, since she's his daughter and understands the dynamics better than anyone else could. Now I feel bad and think I could be in the wrong. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Your children are not your personal therapist. She is 100% right in putting her foot down and setting boundaries for herself. Boundaries that you need to respect. You're the only one being unsupportive here because you do not respect her boundaries. Get a therapist. As someone who's had to deal with similar my entire life, if you don't start respecting her wishes, you're going to end up not having her around at all one day. What the heck is wrong with you? You don't vent about your husband to your kids. You shelter them from bad things. Like, even when my parents tried to shelter me, I've gotten in the middle and heard of some things, and I cannot even describe the mental stress. Also, can't afford a valuation but can afford a vacation. This is the epitome of bad parents. I'm so glad I'm not the only one hung up on this, because what? Lady, you've parentified your daughter. Not only does she manage her younger sister, but you now treat her like a peer to vent marital problems. She's nearly an adult and deserves to be a teenager planning her future. It's not her problem that you don't have any friends. You definitely need therapy. I believe this scenario is included in the handbook on how to alienate your children. I, nearly adult female, have a cousin, Adrienne, a 30 female who's always been seen as the black sheep of our family. She's neurodivergent and has a more alternative style. Think bright hair, tattoos, and piercings. We were never close because of the age gap, but our families wanted to be close-knit. When Adrienne turned 20, her family decided to visit us and celebrate her together. Here's the problem. I was a pre-tween at the time, and while I threw a tantrum, I wanted to go to a different restaurant than the one Adrienne had picked, and I made such a fuss that everyone ended up staying home. Later, when they got a cake for Adrienne, I insisted on blowing out the candles myself. My parents let me do it because they didn't want to deal with another meltdown and told Adrienne that she was too old to be making a fuss over her birthday anyway. I honestly don't remember much from that day, but apparently it really hurt Adrienne. She wasn't even allowed to celebrate with her friends like she wanted because she had to come on that family trip. Fast forward to now, and I'm applying to colleges, specifically in the state where Adrienne lives. Over the years, I've come to realize just how toxic some of our family dynamics are, and I reached out to Adrienne to apologize for what happened when I was a kid. I told her that I understood now, and I asked if she could help me navigate things as I applied to schools in her area. Adrienne pretty much brushed me off and told me she was still upset about what happened on her 20th birthday. I tried to explain that I was just a kid at the time and that I was sorry, but she was holding on to this grudge like it happened yesterday. I told her she needed to let it go, but she seemed stuck. My parents think she's being unreasonable, but I'm starting to wonder if I'm being insensitive to her feelings. So, am I the idiot for telling my cousin to stop holding on to a grudge over something I did when I was 7? If you hadn't wanted her help, would you have contacted her just to apologize? If you've come to realize over the years how bad it was, why not apologize sooner? Why wait until you needed something from her? You are the idiot. You waited 10 years to reach out and you only apologized because you wanted favors from her. I'd have a hard time believing you were sincere too. Also, there are a whole bunch of unnecessary descriptions of the cousin to paint them as weird. Why say she has tattoos and bright-colored hair? What did this add to the story? And are you trying to blame neurodivergence for not letting go of bad treatment from the family? What do these details add to the fact that you were a spoiled child who ruined her birthday? It's possible I'm being a little too charitable, but I read that as an explanation of why the parents let OP ruin her birthday. They say there's a toxic dynamic and she was the black sheep. So I took it as the parents thinking, who gives a damn? It's only a party for a black sheep cousin, not an important event. If I were to guess, I bet OP's behavior was checked better at events the parents cared about. Just a guess, though. I still think it's a you are the idiot from me. My dad is a mess. He and my mom were together for 7 years. High school sweethearts and everything when mom found out she was pregnant with me. He says he freaked out and cheated on her because he was scared of being a father. But he regretted it after the 3rd time of being intimate with this other woman and thought he could leave it behind. He proposed to my mom and she accepted. Then when mom was 7 months pregnant with me, the other woman showed up and said dad got her pregnant. My mom called off the engagement. From that mess, dad has me, nearly adult male, and Stacy, teen female. The other woman wanted a relationship with dad, but he said he only ever loved and wanted my mom. She was a mistake and the baby was a mistake. Mom didn't want him back. Dad ended up with 5050 custody of me and Stacy. Her mom tried for 2 years to get back with dad and even told my mom she was selfish for keeping dad from her. Then she gave up. Dad pined for mom for years and tried to win her back. It made Stacy angry. Stacy was already angry because her mom told her dad chose mom over them and me and mom over them. So she had a chip on her shoulder with me and my mom. When she was way too young to be saying crap, she was calling my mom degrading insults. My dad would get so angry that Stacy talked to mom that way and dad would tell mom he was sorry. He'd make it work, please, he only ever loved her, etc. This happened when I was old enough to remember witnessing this pathetic mess. I was a tween when dad moved on and finally let mom go. He met a woman, married her, and had Georgie pre-tween with her. Stacy was furious that dad had fallen in love with someone other than her mom, and instead of falling in love with her mom again, he found someone after he had let go of mom after 11 years. So Stacy hates Georgie and she treats her like crap. Dad's wife died when Georgie was only a young teen, and Stacy has said some really twisted crap about her to Georgie. Also to me because I got along okay with my dad's late wife. I've mostly noped out of it all now, but I answer occasional calls from dad. He said he wanted to get the family together when we talked yesterday and wanted us to be close. He needs my help, that we can't continue with the toxic mess. I told him he'd made his own mess and that I wasn't helping him with it. He needs to take accountability and stop making things worse. Dad told me I should care about my sisters and how we'll never be close if this continues. I told him it wasn't my fault. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, Opie. I imagine you'll do well in life having had the blueprint of everything not to do so brilliantly laid out by your pops. I hope Stacy finds healing in her adult life along with her mom who does not have it going on, and that your dad does right by Georgie. What a painful, messy life he has led thus far. Please just be there for Georgie. This little girl doesn't sound like she has many people in her life who have robust mental health. Your dad sounds like he's a mess. Your elder half-sister has a poisoned personality, and your younger sister lost her mom when she was so small. She needs someone who can be a good version of an adult for her. I'm sorry to even suggest that to someone so young, but if you find the strength, then please do. How is a nearly adult male going to be able to address his teen half-sister's misogyny and cruelty to a small child? Stacy is abusive. Like, I get that to some degree your dad is responsible for this mess, but at some point Stacy is also responsible for her behavior. She's a teenager about to be an adult treating a pre-tween like crap. I'm really worried for Georgie. Your dad can encourage and support that sibling relationship if you're open without Stacy. My brother received his A-level results a few weeks back. Exams you do when you're a teen. He can't go to the university of his choice now and is absolutely freaking out. He's spent years working his behind off for this moment. This is the biggest thing in his world. I get it. It sucks. My parents and I gave him space to deal with his emotions and support him, but it does get to a point where he needs to make some decisions. Sooner rather than later, if he wants to go through clearing and find another university or take a gap year. My parents don't know the UK education system well. I'm the first in my family to attend university. My parents are trying, but a lot of it's falling onto me as I know the steps he needs to take. I sat him down and asked him what he wanted to do next. There are a few options, such as which direction he wants to go in. He immediately started screaming at me and putting down my education. I failed my GCSEs and did a BTEC instead of A-levels. There is stigma in the UK as BTECs are coursework based with no exams. I then got a degree in an easy creative subject. He was going at me at such an intense level, calling me an idiot. A waste of education. It was frankly disgusting. He was grounded, but he spent a few days just being nasty under his breath and giving me attitude. This morning he came to me with a smile and a cup of tea asking for my help. I don't want to help him anymore, and I told him so. My parents are saying it's his own fault after he went tattling to them, but my friends are saying I'm being incredibly harsh. Am I the idiot for refusing to help him? As he's so clever, he can sort out his own pathway and decide whether he's going through clearing or taking a year out and redoing his A-levels or whatever. Not your circus, and you are not the idiot. Why would he want an idiot? A waste of education person's help. Also, you are educating and helping him. You're teaching him that words and actions have consequences, and if you treat people poorly, they won't be inclined to help you. He made his bed. Time to lie in it. You managed to go to university without help too. You aren't obligated to help, but I think if you demand a sincere apology in front of your parents so that he knows everyone in the family can see he understands how unacceptable that was, it seems like you can help him. Everyone deserves a second chance if they really regret their words. As you said, it's the biggest thing in his world. If he sincerely apologizes and you still don't help him, this could be an unfixable permanent break in your relationship. As a teen, while legally an adult, he's still a kid and he's stressed. If he really is sorry, give him a chance.